set in Ikoyi, Lagos. It was a typical Monday morning in Lagos, but instead of being at his luxurious office at Khalifa Group Towers, billionaire hotel magnate Lucas Khalifa found himself sitting quietly in a stark white room at one of the city's most exclusive hospitals. Over the past few weeks, he had been battling persistent headaches, sharp, dizzying, and unrelenting. After ignoring them for too long, he finally booked a checkup. Now he sat waiting for the verdict, flipping through his digital planner on a sleek tablet. His mind wasn't on work for once. It was on fear, though he wouldn't admit it aloud. When the doctor entered, clutching a file, Lucas straightened. "Doctor, talk to me. What's the result?" His tone was firm, calm, the way it always was in business meetings. The doctor's expression didn't match the tone. It was tight, grim, hesitant. Lucas smirked lightly. "That bad? Come on, give it to me straight." The doctor handed him the folder. "Mr. Khalifa, I'm sorry. The MRI and blood results confirm it. You have a malignant brain tumor. It's cancer." The words didn't make sense at first. Lucas blinked. "I'll pay. I don't care how much it costs. Can it be treated?" The doctor's slow headshake hit harder than any words. "How long?" Lucas finally asked. "If you're lucky, 1 year." He left the hospital in silence, stepping into his waiting black SUV, the glass doors shutting behind him like a tomb. As the engine hummed to life, he stared out the tinted window. Lagos, bustling and vibrant, blurred into streaks of light. Inside, his world had gone quiet. His longtime personal assistant and driver, Ben, sat silently in the front seat until Lucas spoke suddenly. "I need to get married." Ben nearly swerved. "Sir, what?" "I need a wife and a child, fast." Ben's eyes widened in the rearview mirror. "Are you serious, sir? Why?" "Announce it, today. Let the entire staff at Khalifa Group know. I'm looking for a wife." And by the next morning, it wasn't just Khalifa Group that knew. The entire city did. Newspapers, social media, TV stations. Billionaire Lucas Khalifa, 30, in search of a wife. Immediate marriage expected. Nigerian elites were shaken. Daughters of powerful politicians, Nollywood actresses, socialites, even humble university graduates from Ibadan to Abuja rushed to the gate of his Ikoyi mansion, dressed in their best, hearts full of hope. Inside the grand compound, Lucas sat like a king on trial. Woman after woman came in, introduced herself, smiled brightly. He listened. He was polite. He asked about their dreams, hobbies, values. But none of them sparked anything in him. Some had the looks, others had the charm. Many wanted the money, which didn't bother him. What bothered him was that none felt real. "Sir, there's one woman left outside," his head of security said at dusk. "Have her come back tomorrow. I'm done for today." "Sir, she says she came from outside Lagos and hasn't even eaten." "Still, tomorrow." Outside, Melissa, dragging a massive duffel bag, stood in the hot evening sun, sweating and starving. She had just arrived in Lagos from Asaba, expecting to audition for what she thought was a reality TV show. She'd seen the crowd outside the mansion and assumed it was some kind of Nollywood casting. "This is probably Big Brother Niger or something," she mumbled to herself, trying to stay cheerful despite the heat. When security tried to turn her away, Melissa wasn't having it. "Please, nah. I've been here since morning. I haven't even eaten. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm fun. I can cook, clean, dance, sing. Big Brother, give me a chance," she begged the guard, grabbing the gate bars dramatically. "Madam, I beg, don't shout. You'll get us in trouble," the guard whispered, glancing behind him. Too late. "Who's making that noise outside?" came a deep voice from behind. The gate opened slightly and Melissa saw him, tall, broad-shouldered, in a plain green polo and white linen shorts, but still somehow looking like he belonged on the cover of GQ Africa. His skin was smooth, his jaw sharp, his eyes piercing. Melissa blinked. "Who are you?" Lucas asked flatly. Melissa Odili. I came to audition to be on Big Brother." She smiled, completely missing the context. Lucas stared. Big brother? Isn't this the audition? She asked, then burst into the show's theme song. You're a star, so show the world who you are. Lucas nearly chuckled. Turning to the guard, he whispered, Open the gate. I found the one I'm going to marry. Melissa's jaw dropped. Marry? Wait, what did you say? Lucas looked directly at her. You said you'd do anything to be a star, right? She nodded slowly, unsure if this was still part of an audition. Come in. Let's discuss your first role. Melissa followed the housemaid into the sprawling white marble foyer of Lucas Khalifa's mansion. It was bigger than anything she'd ever seen. A fountain glittered at the center of the roundabout driveway outside, framed by expensive cars that gleamed like polished stones. Inside, soft jazz hummed from hidden speakers, blending with the distant sound of the ocean just beyond the estate walls. She tried not to gape as she was led into a modern living room. The ceilings were impossibly high, the floor covered in a thick cream rug, and a black leather sectional took center stage. Lucas was already there, lounging with a cup of espresso like a man who didn't need to explain himself. Sit, he said, gesturing to the couch opposite him. Melissa obeyed, folding her hands in her lap and trying to act like this wasn't the weirdest moment of her life. I'm Lucas Khalifa, he said calmly, watching her reaction. She blinked. Okay. You don't recognize the name? He asked, raising a brow. Should I? She replied. Look, if this is still part of the audition, I'm really good at improv. Lucas chuckled softly. No audition. You're not here for a show. You're here because I'm looking for a wife, and I think I want to marry you. Melissa blinked several times. I'm sorry. What? I'm serious, he said, setting down his coffee. You're honest, raw, a little naive but refreshing. I like that. She stared at him, unsure whether to run or laugh. Okay. Let's say I believe you. What exactly do I get out of this? Lucas opened a drawer from the glass table and slid a crisp white folder across to her. Melissa opened it, her eyes scanning the neatly typed lines. 1.2 million naira a month for 1 year. 10 million naira bonus if she got pregnant within the first month. 15 million naira in a house in Lekki if he died during the contract. Any child would inherit the rest. Her fingers trembled as she looked up at him. You're dying? Lucas nodded solemnly. Terminal brain tumor. They've given me 1 year. I need an heir before I go. All of Melissa's snark drained out of her. She looked at him differently now, not as a rich man, but as someone walking toward the edge. I'm sorry. That was a terrible joke earlier. It's fine. You didn't know. He leaned forward. But now you do, and time is short. So I need an answer. Melissa closed the folder and let out a slow breath. Can I think about it? At least for tonight? There are dozens of women outside waiting to take your place, Lucas said, though his voice was quieter now. She stared at him for a moment. Then with a shrug, she said, Fine, let's do it. Lucas studied her carefully. Are you sure? I'm in Lagos with 1 bag, no job and no plans. Might as well be rich while I figure out my life. Lucas smiled for the first time. The next morning, he hired a full wedding planning team. The mansion bustled with decorators, stylists, tailors, chefs, and florists. Melissa could hardly keep up. News of the surprise engagement hit every gossip blog in Nigeria within hours. Lucas Khalifa chooses unknown woman as bride. Wedding in 7 days, the headlines screamed. Rumors flew like wildfire. Some thought Melissa was pregnant already. Others said she had bewitched him. Meanwhile, in Asaba, Melissa's parents were losing their minds. Her mother called her 4 times in 1 hour. Melissa ignored them all until the housemaid announced she had visitors at the gate. When Melissa stepped outside and saw her parents, Papa Simon and Mama Grace, she nearly cried. Melissa Chinyere Odili, are you mad? Her mother shouted. You left the house with 1 Ghana must go, and now you're marrying Lagos's richest bachelor? I can explain, she started, but her father stepped forward with a cage in his hand. Why are you holding a chicken? Melissa blurted. Nah, my son. Your mother gave birth to you. I raised this one, her father said proudly. Just then, Lucas returned from the office in his sleek BMW. He rolled down the window, raising an eyebrow. "Melissa, who are these people?" "My parents," she replied sheepish. Lucas nodded. "Let them in." Inside the living room, Melissa's father sat with the chicken still perched in the box on his lap, while Mama Grace took in the expensive furniture with cautious eyes. "You're the man marrying our daughter?" Simon asked, squinting at Lucas. "Yes, sir." "And you invited us without informing us first? You think we don't have blood pressure problems?" "I'm truly sorry, sir," Lucas replied politely. "It all happened quickly. But I'd be honored to have your blessing." Lucas's eyes shifted to the box. "You brought a gift?" "No, oh. This chicken is my son. His name is Obi. Don't touch him." Lucas chuckled lightly, unsure if Simon was serious. "He's joking," Melissa said quickly. "I'm not," Simon countered. "Obi is part of the family. You may be rich, but don't think we'll let you cook him for the wedding." Everyone burst into laughter, including Lucas. For a man who had been feeling nothing but emptiness for months, it felt good. Later, Melissa's father clapped Lucas on the shoulder. "You're our son now, but hurt our daughter, and I'll bring my machete from Asaba." "Yes, sir," Lucas replied, smiling. "I mean it, and I'll teach you how to raise chickens." Melissa groaned. "Daddy, please." Lucas glanced at her and thought, This is what I want my last year to look like." The air in Lekki Phase 1 buzzed with anticipation. Paparazzi waited outside the luxury cathedral, hoping to catch a glimpse of Lucas Khalifa, Nigeria's most eligible billionaire, tying the knot with a complete unknown. Inside the Grand Cathedral, Melissa stood before the mirror in a custom white dress stitched by a Ghanaian designer flown in just for her. The gown hugged her figure modestly, the lace shimmering softly under the golden lights. Her makeup was soft, natural, and flawless. Still, her palms were damp. "This is really happening," she whispered, touching her belly as if trying to ground herself. "I'm marrying a man I just met. A man who's dying." Her heart fluttered not from fear, but confusion. She wasn't sure if it was the nerves, the pressure, or something deeper. Something growing for Lucas that she was too afraid to name. Moments later, as she walked down the aisle on her father's arm, Papa Simon proudly holding his head high in his freshly ironed agbada, the murmurs in the crowd fell silent. The girl from Asaba didn't look provincial anymore. She looked like royalty. And there, waiting at the altar, was Lucas in a navy blue tuxedo that sculpted his tall frame, his expression unreadable, except for the faint warmth in his eyes the moment he saw her. "You may now kiss the bride," the priest announced. Melissa's heart skipped a beat. Her first kiss. Ever. She quickly leaned in and whispered, "Behave yourself." Lucas smirked. Then, surprising everyone, he didn't kiss her lips. Instead, he pressed his lips softly to the tip of her nose, a gesture so unexpected and sweet, it left Melissa stunned. For someone who was supposed to want a child immediately, he was being incredibly patient. The guests clapped, cameras flashed, but in that small, quiet moment, something shifted between them. Back at the Khalifa mansion that night, Melissa's parents left early. "We won't stay to pressure you. We know why you got married," Mama Grace said, shooting a not-so-subtle look at Lucas. "And no one is using Obi for pepper soup," Simon added before boarding the car with his chicken box. Alone in the mansion's massive bedroom, Melissa stood awkwardly beside the bed, staring at Lucas. "I've never, not even once," she began, twisting her fingers nervously. Lucas stepped closer. "I know, you don't need to say it. I just thought you'd expect us to, try to make the baby tonight." Lucas tilted his head. "Do you want to?" "I don't know," she blurted out. "You're very attractive, and I'm supposed to be your wife, but—" She fainted. Right there. Lucas caught her mid-fall, eyes wide in disbelief. Later, after she woke up and had a glass of juice, she found herself curled on the couch, wrapped in a silk robe. "I'm sorry," she mumbled, embarrassed. "It's fine," Lucas said with a smile, offering her a bowl of pepper soup. "It's not every day you get married to a stranger." She took the bowl slowly. "Is this chicken?" Lucas held back a grin. "No, Obi is safe." They both laughed for the first time that night. The next morning, over a quiet breakfast on the mansion's terrace, Lucas poured her a glass of fresh pineapple juice. "So, honeymoon plans?" he asked casually, buttering a croissant. Melissa nearly choked. "Honeymoon? As in, doing the thing? But we're in Lagos. What if people hear us? Shouldn't that be done in a bedroom?" Lucas raised an amused eyebrow. "You think honeymoons only happen in bedrooms?" "Well, I mean, you said you wanted a baby. And babies come from—" Lucas leaned in wickedly. "We could do it in the garden. Or the pool. I could send the staff home and we'll have the entire mansion to ourselves." Melissa's eyes widened like saucers. One housekeeper burst into a giggle nearby. "Stop it," she snapped at Lucas, cheeks red. "People are going to think I'm some kind of pervert." Lucas leaned back with a smug grin. "Your innocence is dangerous, madam." After breakfast, Lucas headed out to the office while Melissa wandered the estate with the staff. At some point, she cornered B, the cheerful housekeeper. "B, what exactly is a honeymoon? I thought it was just making a baby." B burst into laughter. "No, madam. It's like a vacation, romantic getaway for the newlyweds. You can travel, relax, bond, not just baby making." Later that evening, as Lucas returned home and began loosening his tie, Melissa ran up to him. "Lucas!" He stopped, surprised. "I figured out where we should go for our honeymoon." He chuckled. "Oh, let me guess. Paris?" "No, that place is too expensive. Let's go to Obudu Cattle Ranch or Lake Toba. I heard it's really cool up there. Making a baby in hot weather doesn't feel right." Lucas blinked. "Lake Toba is in Indonesia, madam." "Oh, then the Obudu one. It's cold, right?" "We'll make a cold baby." Lucas shook his head, grinning. "A cold baby?" She nodded enthusiastically. "Winter babies are stronger." He looked at her with quiet awe. This girl, this wild, unfiltered, warm-hearted girl, was turning his carefully planned, terminally bound life upside down in the most ridiculous and beautiful way. And maybe, just maybe, she was worth living for. 3 months into their marriage, there was still no sign of a baby. But something else had begun to bloom. It wasn't planned, and it definitely wasn't part of the contract. Lucas Khalifa, once the cold, unreachable CEO feared by boardrooms and envied by tabloids, was now laughing at breakfast, holding hands under the table, and watching late-night Nollywood comedies with his contract wife, Melissa Odili. They had fallen into a rhythm, sometimes awkward, sometimes sweet, but always honest. That night, the moonlight filtered through the sheer curtains of their bedroom in Banana Island. They lay in bed, backs to each other, but neither could sleep. "Lucas, are you still awake?" Melissa's soft voice drifted into the quiet. "Yes," he replied, his voice equally low. "I'm sorry." Lucas turned slightly. "For what?" "For not being pregnant yet. I know we're running out of time. What if you—" She stopped, her throat tightening. "What if you don't get to meet our baby?" Lucas inhaled deeply and shifted onto his side, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Turn around." Melissa slowly turned, and to his surprise, her eyes were wet with unshed tears. "Why are you crying?" "I don't know. I guess I just want this to matter. Not the money, not the bonus. Just us. I want our baby to look like you. I want you to hold them, teach them, be there." Lucas didn't know what to say at first. His chest tightened. He reached forward and brushed away a tear from her cheek, then gently pulled her into his arms. "Can we stop talking about my expiration date? Maybe that pressure is making it harder. Let's just enjoy this moment." Melissa sniffled and nodded slowly. "Enjoying the moment means trying again?" she asked innocently, looking up. Lucas blinked at her. "You think too much." She grinned slightly. "You're lucky I don't have stretch marks yet. Otherwise, I'd charge you extra." Lucas laughed and kissed her forehead. Sleep. We'll try again tomorrow. The next day, while Lucas was at work, Melissa stayed home browsing her phone obsessively. She Googled everything from foods that increase fertility to best positions to make baby boys. She even joined a Facebook group called Womb Warriors Naija. Try pineapple and okra water combo. Drink every morning for 3 days, one post read. Melissa furrowed her brows. That sounds nasty. B, the housekeeper, noticed her frown. Madam, everything all right? B, what's the fastest way to get pregnant? B nearly dropped her dish towel. Madam, you're asking me? I'm serious. Well, some people say eat ogbano and eggs. Others say sleep facing the north. Melissa tilted her head. North? B shrugged. That's what my auntie said. She has 6 kids. Later that day, Lucas returned home early. Melissa excitedly served him a tray of food. You cooked this? He asked, surprised. Yes, I watched 5 YouTube videos. Don't judge it yet. He took a bite, a little salty, but he smiled. Not bad. It tastes like ambition. Exactly, she said proudly. I'm practicing for when I become a real wife. You already are. Melissa's expression faltered just slightly. The word real still scared her. Their marriage had started as a deal, a countdown. She wasn't sure when that began to change. Later that night, Lucas requested an important document he'd left at home. The plan was to have his assistant pick it up, but Melissa, restless and eager to surprise him, decided to deliver it herself. She changed into jeans and a white tee, threw a box of cookies she'd baked, with B's help, into a paper bag, and told the driver to take her straight to Khalifa Group headquarters in Victoria Island. The receptionist looked her over. Simple outfit, no makeup, no designer bag. Yes, she said flatly. Hi, I'm Melissa, Lucas's wife. I brought him something. The receptionist raised an eyebrow. You, Lucas Khalifa's wife? Melissa nodded with a friendly smile. Madam, this is a corporate building, not a film location. Please don't embarrass yourself. I'm serious. I just need to drop this off. I've seen dozens of women claim to be his fiancé. Security. Before Melissa could protest further, 2 guards appeared. She calmly placed the box and file on the desk. Fine, just make sure he gets this. The receptionist scoffed, picked up the box, and dumped it on the floor. The cookies tumbled out and shattered. Melissa stared down at her ruined first attempt at baking. She bent to pick them up, blinking back tears. That was the moment the elevator dinged open. Lucas stepped out, flanked by a group of international investors. He stopped when he saw her on the floor, cookies scattered, a guard standing over her. His voice sliced through the room. What's going on here? Everyone froze. Melissa looked up. It's fine. I was just leaving. Lucas walked straight to her, pulled her to her feet, and turned to the staff. She's my wife. The receptionist stammered. I didn't know, sir. She told you. Yes, but she didn't look the part. Lucas turned to his assistant. Ben, sanction everyone who disrespected my wife. Effective immediately. Melissa tugged on his arm. Lucas, it's fine. Really. He picked up one of the broken cookies and took a bite. No, it's not. Turning to the stunned investors, he said, Apologies, gentlemen. My wife needs me. Let's reschedule. One older man nodded with a smile. You've got your priorities right, Mr. Khalifa. We'll sign the deal regardless. Back at the mansion, Melissa sat in silence as Lucas fed her one of her own cookies. They're kind of terrible, he said with a grin. I know, she mumbled. I still love them. She looked at him. Why? Because you made them, for me. For a man who was supposed to die soon. Lucas Khalifa had never felt more alive. It was a quiet Saturday afternoon when Melissa got approached at a coffee shop in Lekki Phase. Lucas had stepped into a nearby pharmacy, and Melissa waited at an outdoor table, sipping Zobo through a straw, when a tall man in skinny jeans and dark sunglasses approached her. Excuse me, miss. I don't mean to bother you, but are you signed to any modeling agency? Melissa blinked. Signed? Like autographs? The man laughed. No, I mean, Are you a model? Your face, your figure? It's exactly what clients are looking for. I'm not a model, she said, slightly confused. Well, you should be. My name's Hans. I manage talent across Lagos and Cape Town. Here's my card. If you're ever interested in modeling, even casually, give me a call. Melissa took the card hesitantly. As Hans walked away, she muttered, Model? Me. Back at the house, the idea started growing on her. Lucas was always at work. She was bored. And maybe she needed to start building something for herself too. Later that week, without telling anyone, including Lucas, Melissa texted Hans. By the next day, she was seated in his minimalist Ikoye studio, doing test shots in light makeup and a plain tank top. Hans was stunned. Natural. Raw. I can market this in my sleep. Before she knew it, Melissa was booked for a handbag campaign, then a jewelry ad. Then she was wearing a flowing white maternity gown for a brand targeting newlyweds. Everywhere she turned, people praised her features. Her soft brown skin, expressive eyes. The way she looked effortless even without glam. It was overwhelming but thrilling. She didn't want special treatment. She didn't even tell them her husband was Lucas Khalifa. At home, Lucas remained oblivious, until it all came crashing into one of his boardrooms. His team was presenting a list of potential faces for the new Khalifa Group Hotels campaign. As the images clicked across the screen, Lucas sat half listening, until one familiar smile popped up. Stop, he said. The team paused mid-slide. Lucas narrowed his eyes. Why is my wife's face on that board? The room went silent. One assistant cleared her throat. Sir, you know Miss Melissa? I just said she's my wife. Who submitted this photo? Sir, it came from an agency. We didn't know she was your... Lucas stood. Meeting's over. Back home that evening, Melissa walked in glowing from a successful shoot. She didn't notice Lucas in the living room until she heard his low voice. Where have you been? She froze. Working. Lucas stared at her. Working? I mean, yeah, I've been doing some modeling gigs, just a few. I didn't think I needed permission. Lucas raised an eyebrow. So you're a model now? I didn't even tell my mom, Melissa replied defensively. Why would I need to tell you? He pinched the bridge of his nose. What's your schedule tomorrow? Just a shoot, summer collection. Lucas blinked. Summer collection? She caught it. Why? What's wrong with that? You'll be in a swimsuit. I'll be in a theme not naked. Lucas crossed his arms. I'm coming with you. The next day at the studio, Lucas's presence changed the entire atmosphere. Assistants fumbled, makeup artists whispered, and the shoot director kept casting nervous glances at the intimidating billionaire glaring from the corner. Melissa whispered to Hans, Why is everyone acting like they're being held hostage? Because they are, Hans hissed back. Why did you bring your husband? He insisted. Melissa posed with her male co-model, who was friendly but professional. Still, every time he moved closer, Lucas's eyes narrowed like a sniper sighting his target. When they finally wrapped, Melissa yanked Lucas by the wrist into the hallway. You scared half the crew. Why are you so jealous? Because he was touching you. It's called a pose. Lucas looked directly at her, voice low and intense. I don't want anyone touching what belongs to me. Melissa blinked. Is that what I am? Your possession? No, he said. You're my wife, and I'm madly, unreasonably in love with you. That's worse. She opened her mouth, then closed it, then smiled. Good, because I was starting to think you didn't care. He stepped closer. I care too much. I just wanted to build something of my own, she whispered. You don't have to, but if it makes you happy, I'll support it. Fully. The next day, Melissa's face was on a billboard 15 stories tall with the new title, Queen of Khalifa Hotels. When she saw it, she gasped. Lucas, this is insane. He grinned. Now the whole world knows. You're mine. That night, as Lagos glowed beneath a curtain of stars, Melissa and Lucas lay in bed, their fingers intertwined between them. The AC hummed softly in the background, but Melissa couldn't sleep. Lucas, she whispered. Do you think we're wasting time? Lucas turned to face her. What do you mean? I mean, I'm still not pregnant. What if we're running out of time? Her voice broke on the last word. Lucas sat up slightly, resting his weight on one elbow as he looked down at her. Melissa blinked quickly, as if tears would betray her. What if you don't get to see your child before you... Stop, he said gently, placing a hand on her cheek. Don't think like that. But I do, she said, voice shaking. Every day. I want to do this for you. I want us to have something that stays even after. Lucas pulled her into his arms, hugging her tightly. Then let's stop trying so hard. Maybe we're putting pressure on the moment. Just let it happen naturally. Melissa sniffled, then gave a shy chuckle. Meaning we should try more often? Lucas grinned. Absolutely. All for the baby, of course. They both laughed, and for a while the weight in the room lifted. But Lucas couldn't stop thinking. How could he tell her? That he wasn't dying anymore. That the original test results were wrong. That he'd known for weeks. The next day, Melissa woke up early and made him breakfast again. This time adding a little note with it that said, "Try not to die before dessert." Lucas laughed when he saw it, but the guilt dug deeper. After breakfast, she kissed him goodbye and waved from the balcony as he drove off. Then as soon as he disappeared down the street, Melissa ran to her phone. She wasn't just waiting for pregnancy to happen anymore. She was researching ways to make it happen, from ovulation trackers to fertility diets to YouTube tutorials titled 6 Ways to Get Pregnant in 30 Days or Less. She even called B, the housekeeper. B, do you know any local herbs that can help? My husband is too gentle. Maybe we need Agbo. B cackled. Agbo for pregnancy? Ah, madam, you're becoming a real Lagos wife now. That afternoon, Lucas came home earlier than usual. Melissa greeted him with a radiant smile and a glass of homemade banana smoothie. He raised an eyebrow. This tastes suspiciously healthy. She grinned. Exactly. It boosts virility. Lucas nearly choked. Melissa! I read it online. It works for bodybuilders too. He set the glass down. I think I liked you better when you didn't read blogs. That night they made love again, tenderly, slowly, with more emotion than either of them wanted to admit aloud. Afterwards, Melissa lay on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Lucas? I think I'm falling in love with you. Lucas froze. His heart thudded loudly beneath her ear. He opened his mouth to say something, anything, but she beat him to it. Don't say anything. I just wanted you to know. If it's not part of the contract, it's fine. But Lucas couldn't sleep that night. Not because of what she said, but because of what he hadn't. The next morning, Melissa jolted awake with nausea and bolted to the bathroom. Lucas followed, panic in his voice. Melissa, are you okay? She slammed the door behind her. Stay away! You stink! Lucas sniffed himself. I just showered. Exactly. You smell like lemon soap and masculinity. Stay away. By noon, she had thrown up twice, cried once over burnt akara, and refused to let Lucas sit on the same couch with her. He took it all in stride, smiling quietly and whispering thank you to whatever spiritual realm had finally answered their prayers. But it wasn't official yet. That evening, Melissa was preparing for another photo shoot when she suddenly collapsed. Hans, her manager, rushed her to the hospital and called Lucas in a frenzy. Lucas dropped everything, tore through traffic like a madman, and burst into the hospital with a heart thundering in his chest. What happened? He barked. She fainted during a shoot. What are you people doing at home? Is she eating properly? Sleeping enough? Hans demanded. She's fine, the doctor said calmly, entering the room with a warm smile. Congratulations, Mr. Khalifa. Your wife is 6 weeks pregnant. Lucas blinked. What? He turned to the hospital bed just as Melissa opened her eyes. Lucas, you're pregnant, he whispered, a grin spreading across his face. You did it. Melissa sat up, eyes wide, hand on her belly. I did? You did. She burst into tears. The doctor turned to her gently. You need to reduce stress and rest properly. I'd advise you take time off work immediately. Melissa's smile faltered. What about my contracts? Lucas gently reached for her hand. Don't worry about any of that. I'll pay the penalties. Just focus on our baby. Melissa turned away. Get out. Lucas blinked. What? I said get out. I don't want to talk to you. He was confused. But why? I'm emotional and hungry and nauseous, and I smell burnt toast. Just go. Lucas scratched his head and left quietly. Outside, Hans approached him. Is she okay? She's pregnant, Lucas said proudly. Hans blinked. Oh no. What about all the bookings we just confirmed? We had a swimwear commercial next week. I'll pay. Double. Just give her a break. Hans sighed. Fine. Congratulations. Daddy. Lucas smiled and walked away, already thinking of pink rice porridge and fried plantain at 3 a.m. because he had a feeling life was about to get very interesting. 3 days after the hospital visit, life inside the Khalifa mansion turned upside down. The elegant halls that once echoed with calm now trembled under the rule of one unpredictable, adorable dictator named Melissa, pregnant, hormonal, and emotionally volatile. It started at 1:37 a.m. Lucas was deep in sleep when a hand smacked his chest. Lucas, Melissa whispered. He groaned. Is something wrong? I want mangoes. Lucas blinked. Now? Yes, but not just any mango. I want the yellow ones, the sweet, soft kind, and you must pluck them yourself from the tree. In the middle of the night? Melissa's eyes narrowed. So you're saying you don't love me? Lucas sighed and got up, half asleep, muttering something about climbing mango trees in Banana Island. By the time he returned, with overpriced mangoes from a 24-hour fruit mart, not a tree, she was already asleep. The next morning, she woke up crying. Lucas panicked. What happened? I had a dream that you ran away with one of the housemaids. Lucas frowned. Which one? I don't know. I just know she had small eyes and strong thighs. I'm never letting you near the kitchen again. Lucas blinked slowly. You think I'd cheat with the person that washes our plates? I didn't say that, Melissa sobbed, but your back is muscular, and that's dangerous. Lucas handed her tissue, biting his lip to hold back laughter. You think my back is muscular? That's not the point, she snapped. From that moment on, Lucas knew he was in for a wild ride. That same afternoon, Melissa called him from the salon. Lucas, she whispered dramatically. What's wrong? Are you okay? I think I need to wax. Wax what? My legs, my arms, my soul, everything. I want to look good for our baby. Lucas paused. I don't think the baby cares what your legs look like. She hissed. So you're saying I look like a hairy goat? No, I'm saying you look perfect, even if you're slightly fuzzier. She hung up. He called back immediately. Wait, I'll pay for the waxing, the spa, the whole salon. She answered with a sniff. That's all I wanted to hear. At lunch, she refused to eat the grilled chicken B had prepared. B, Melissa said dramatically, this chicken looks like Obi. I can't eat it. Lucas choked on his water. You think the chicken looks like my father-in-law's pet rooster? Exactly. The thighs are too familiar. From then on, B started labeling all meat packages not Obi, just to give Melissa peace of mind. Then came the porridge incident. At 2:15 a.m., Melissa woke Lucas up again. I want pink rice porridge, the one I saw on TikTok. Lucas sat up. Pink? Yes, with condensed milk and cinnamon, and the rice must be soft like a baby's cheek. Lucas rubbed his temples. Melissa, please. I don't even know how to boil water. Then go wake B. Lucas stumbled to the kitchen and woke B with guilt in his voice. Sorry, but my wife wants pink porridge. B just stared at him. Sir, I'm telling you, these cravings are spiritual warfare. But she got up and made it anyway. Melissa called Lucas during a board meeting. Lucas, I need you to sing to me. What? I'm feeling sick. I want you to sing that song from Lion King, the one with the Zulu chant. Lucas stared at his colleagues. Hold on. He stepped out into the hallway, pulled out his phone, and began whisper singing, Nance Inganyama Bagiti Baba. Louder, Melissa said. I'm in the office. Then hum it at least. He obeyed. Because when a pregnant woman asks, you hum the Lion King soundtrack. And yet, through all the madness, Lucas loved her more. Even when she kicked him out of their bedroom because his eyelashes were too loud. Even when she accused him of blinking in a suspicious manner. Even when she told him he was breathing too confidently while she was watching the Johnsons. Each time he saw her belly grow, he softened. Each time he caught her talking to their unborn child, he melted. One evening, Melissa stood in the garden, cradling her bump and whispering to her belly, You'll be strong, little one, like your daddy, but hopefully with my nose. Lucas, watching from the doorway, blinked back tears. She didn't see him. He just stood there, hand over his heart. Somewhere between the pink porridge and the midnight serenades, he had fallen in love beyond repair. And the best part? She had no idea just how deep it ran. By the 6th month, Melissa's baby bump was as round as a watermelon and as hard to ignore as her radiant glow. She had initially thought her modeling career would slow down, but the opposite happened. Maternity brands, baby product lines, luxury health spas, they all wanted her. I didn't know pregnancy would make me more marketable, she said one morning, rubbing coconut oil into her belly while posing for a maternity wear shoot in the mansion's garden. You're literally a walking goddess, Hans, her manager, said, snapping shots of her in a soft, pink flowing gown. Lucas stood in the corner, arms crossed, trying very hard not to look annoyed. You sure this shoot isn't too revealing? He muttered. Hans rolled his eyes. She's wearing a skirt and a bra. That's it. She's not in a nightclub. She's my wife. Exactly, and her belly is trending. Embrace it. Lucas sighed but said nothing. He just watched as Melissa adjusted the flower crown on her head and struck pose after pose. Natural, confident, glowing. One of the assistants whispered, Sir, would you like to take a photo with Madam? Lucas blinked. With her? Melissa turned toward him. Come on, it's a memory. You're the father, aren't you? That question, simple as it was, hit deep. Yes, he said quietly, walking toward her. When he stood beside her, Melissa gently placed his hand on her bump. Say something to the baby. Lucas hesitated, then leaned down. Hey, little one, your mom's a superstar. And if you end up with her laugh, I'm finished. Melissa smiled, so wide it made everyone behind the camera pause. Click. The flash went off. That photo would later become the centerpiece of a billboard campaign across Lagos. Lucas didn't even tell her. When she saw it, huge, glowing, elegant, on the side of a skyscraper in Victoria Island, she screamed, Lucas, is that me? Is that us? He grinned. Queen of Khalifa hotels, crowned by popular demand. She smacked his arm. You're crazy, but you love it. She looked at the billboard again and whispered, Yeah, I do. Back at the mansion, Melissa waddled into the living room one evening, holding a piece of paper behind her back. Lucas was sipping tea, reading a market report. I've made a decision. He looked up. About what? The baby's name. Lucas raised an eyebrow. Already? Yes, it came to me in a dream. Was it before or after you asked me to rub Tiger Balm on your ankles at 3 a.m.? Focus, she said dramatically. I want to name him Angelo. Lucas blinked. Angelo? Yes, it means messenger. Because I feel like this baby came to change us. He stared at her for a long second, then nodded. Angelo Khalifa. I like it. You better like it. I'm the one risking my waistline. Lucas chuckled. You've never looked more beautiful. Melissa paused. Say that again. You've never looked more beautiful. Again. Lucas stood up, walked over to her, and cupped her face. Melissa, You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Even when your cravings drive me mad. Even when you kick me out of bed. Even when you accuse me of flirting with the remote control." She burst into laughter. Then in a softer tone, she said, "Thank you." "For what?" "For everything. For making me feel like I matter. For giving me a home." Lucas pulled her into a hug, gently pressing his lips to her forehead. He didn't say it aloud, but in that moment he decided he would name every hotel, every resort, and every business deal after their son. Not just for legacy, but because Melissa had become his entire world. And she didn't even know it yet. It happened just after 3 a.m. The mansion was quiet. Even Lagos, a city that rarely slept, seemed to be in a hush. Lucas had just closed his laptop in the study when he heard it. A scream. "Lucas!" He ran upstairs like a madman, heart pounding as if it wanted to leap from his chest. He burst into the bedroom and found Melissa gripping the edge of the bed, her face twisted in pain. Her silk nightdress soaked. "My water just broke," she whispered, panting. Lucas froze for half a second, then bolted back downstairs. "Ben!" he shouted into the intercom. "Start the car now! We're going to the hospital!" He rushed back up, but in his panic, forgot to carry the hospital bag. When he reached the room again, Melissa screamed, "You left me! I'm sorry! I forgot you upstairs! You forgot me!" Lucas rushed forward and scooped her up bridal style, carrying her carefully as she clenched her teeth and kicked one leg in pain. "You better drive like a thief or I'll give birth in this car," she hissed. At the hospital, everything was a blur. Nurses moved fast. Melissa was wheeled into the delivery room. Lucas stayed beside her the whole time, holding her hand, letting her squeeze the life out of his fingers. "Push, ma'am," the doctor said. "I'm never doing this again," Melissa screamed. "You're doing amazing," Lucas whispered, sweat pouring down his own face from stress. "You've got this. One more push." "I hate you," she cried. "I love you too. I'm serious. I'm never having another baby for you." Lucas grinned through the chaos. Noted. Then it happened. The cry. A single, high-pitched wail that silenced the entire room. "It's a boy," the doctor announced with a proud smile. "Healthy, strong, beautiful." Lucas's knees almost gave out. The nurse laid the tiny baby, red, squishy, perfect, on Melissa's chest. Her eyes welled with tears. I did it?" Lucas kissed her forehead. "You did. You're incredible." She looked down at their son, her hand trembling as she touched his cheek. "Hi, Angelo." The baby hiccuped and blinked slowly. Lucas didn't know when the tears slipped from his eyes. He only knew that at that moment, nothing else in the world mattered. Not the company, not the billions, not even the lie he was still carrying in his chest. Just this woman and their son. A few hours later, Melissa was resting in a private room. Lucas paced gently, cradling Angelo in his arms, rocking him like he'd been a father all his life. His voice was soft, almost a whisper. "You changed everything, little guy." The door creaked open. Melissa's parents stepped in. "Mama, Papa." Melissa blinked, surprised. "How did you know?" "Lucas sent someone to bring us from Asaba," her mother said gently. Her father, Simon, walked straight to Lucas, eyes glued to the newborn. "My grandson. He's fine like me," he boasted proudly. Melissa laughed weakly. "He looks like Lucas." "Well, he has my ears," Simon argued. They all laughed. Melissa's mom moved to her daughter's side and held her hand. "You did well, my child. And you," she looked at Lucas, "you've been good to our daughter. We thank you." Lucas nodded humbly. "She's the one who saved me." Simon placed a warm hand on Lucas's shoulder. "You're not alone anymore. We're your family now." Lucas swallowed the lump in his throat and nodded again. Just then, a nurse entered with a clipboard. "Sir, we need the baby's official name for the birth certificate." Lucas glanced at Melissa. She smiled weakly and whispered, "Angelo Khalifa." The nurse jotted it down. Melissa looked up at Lucas again. You okay? He nodded. I've never been better. But in the quiet space between them, Lucas knew he couldn't keep the truth hidden any longer. It had been 3 days since baby Angelo arrived, and the Khalifa mansion now pulsed with the sound of new life baby cries, bottle sterilizers, and Melissa's sweet lullabies in the afternoon sun. Lucas watched them, his wife and child, like a man under a spell. But the lie weighed heavier every day. One morning, while Melissa napped, Lucas walked into the nursery and stood over Angelo's crib. The baby stirred, stretching his tiny fingers. Lucas bent low, whispering softly, Your dad lied. Not because he wanted to, but because he was afraid. Afraid your mom would leave. Later that evening, as the sun dipped low, Lucas found Melissa in the garden, wearing a loose silk robe and bouncing gently on her feet to calm a cranky Angelo. You look exhausted, he said. Sleep is a luxury now, she replied with a tired smile. Lucas took Angelo from her arms, cradling the baby gently as Melissa collapsed into a chair. I need to tell you something, he began. Melissa looked up, curious. You remember the day you fainted at the shoot? She nodded slowly. That same day, the doctor told me something I didn't tell you. Melissa's breath caught. Lucas continued. The cancer. It was a mistake. The diagnosis was wrong. I'm not dying. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I found out before you got pregnant, he added, guilt flooding every word. I should have told you, but I was scared. Scared that without the contract, you wouldn't choose to stay. Melissa stared at him in stunned silence. So, you're okay? He nodded. You're not dying. No. She blinked, processing it. Then to his surprise, she burst into tears, not angry, not hurt, just overwhelmed. Lucas rushed to her side. I'm so sorry. I should have told you earlier. You idiot, she sobbed. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I've been living on edge, counting days like they were glass beads I lose one by one. I didn't want to lose you, he whispered. Melissa hit his chest weakly, crying. I would have stayed. Lucas, I love you. I don't need a contract to be your wife. You're not just my husband. You're my home. Lucas cupped her face, brushing her tears away. Then let me do it right this time. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a velvet box. Opening it revealed a gold ring with a deep green emerald, shaped like a teardrop. This time, no contracts, no countdowns, just us. Will you marry me again, Melissa O'Dilly? This time for love? Melissa burst into a fresh wave of tears, but nodded through them. Yes, 1,000 times, yes. Lucas slid the ring onto her finger, then kissed her not out of obligation, but from the deepest part of his heart. 1 year later, the Khalifa mansion glittered under the afternoon sun, transformed into a romantic beachfront venue at Echo Atlantic Gold chairs. Flowing white drapes, strings of fairy lights, all for their real wedding. Melissa walked down the aisle in a champagne gold gown, holding Angelo's little hand. Their daughter, born just 2 months earlier, was carried by Mama Grace, who doubled as flower girl and proud grandmother. Lucas stood at the altar in a tailored ivory suit, eyes shining as if seeing her for the first time. You may now kiss the bride, the priest announced. Lucas kissed Melissa with all the love he had once been afraid to show. Their guests cheered, the wind clapped, and this time there was no expiration date. Just forever. The sun rose gently over Banana Island, casting warm golden streaks across the Khalifa mansion's marble floors. Inside, laughter echoed through the hallways. Toys littered the Persian rugs. Crayon drawings decorated the fridge. The sound of little feet pattering across the grand staircase signaled the new rulers of the house. Angelo, now a wild, fearless toddler, and Zara, their 6-month-old daughter, with her father's dimple and her mother's big brown eyes. Melissa stood barefoot in the garden, wearing a soft cotton wrapper, her curls pinned loosely as she held baby Zara against her chest. Her eyes followed Angelo as chased butterflies barefoot across the lawn, giggling uncontrollably. Lucas emerged from the house carrying 2 mugs of steaming tea. For you, Mrs. Khalifa, he said, offering her the mug with a kiss to her temple. Thank you, my love, she whispered, accepting it. Do you realize we've been married for real over a year now? He asked, gently rubbing Zara's back. Melissa smiled. I know. You've only reminded me every morning for the last 3 weeks. Lucas took a sip and nodded. Just making sure you still want to keep me. She leaned into him. Always. Behind them, Mama Grace and Papa Simon sat in cane chairs under the mango tree, cooing at Zara while tossing toy drums to Angelo. Even Obi the rooster had his own fenced-off corner, still very much alive and treated like royalty. That afternoon, Lucas gathered the family for a photo in front of the house. Melissa stood beside him, glowing in a peach sundress, Angelo gripping one leg, and Zara perched proudly on her hip. Click. The photo would later hang in Lucas's office, not just as a memory, but as a reminder of the day everything changed. From a contract marriage built on desperation, to a family stitched together by patience, chaos, truth, and a love neither of them saw coming. As the breeze rustled the palm trees, Melissa leaned over and whispered into Lucas's ear, I still think Angelo looks like me. Lucas laughed, pulling her close. He acts like you. That's enough chaos for a lifetime. They stood there, arms wrapped around each other, as the sun dipped below the Lagos skyline, surrounded by family, joy, and the peace they fought hard to build. No countdown, no contract, just love, forever. Dear viewers, what lesson did you take away from this dramatic tale? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.